Today I'm going to be showing a video on how we can create a really simple jhumka. Now this was actually something that was requested by one of the subscribers, and I thought it was a nice idea. It's a really easy way to make this, and I've actually laid out what's required for making this jhumka. Obviously the jhumka mold, just a little quantity of clay. This obviously for any jhumka, I've always mentioned about doing a little bit of pre-preparation, so these things would be good to have. In fact, this is a double-sided, this kind of a bead. It's just a clay bead with two pins on both sides. Just a gauge 26 on both ends, and this is completely bone dry, so it's I can at least hold it. It's good to have a couple of these always ready, so that when you're actually making your jhumka, you don't have to really struggle to handle everything which is almost wet. Then I have over here, obviously this is the star tool for today's particular jhumka. This is a hacksaw blade. I'm sure you must have seen this. This is pretty sharp, so please be careful while handling this. So this is something that I got from a Home Depot over here, and I think usually, at least back in India, what I've seen is this is in black, and it's you get much shorter ones as well. This is just like a 10-inch hacksaw blade, and this is what we're going to basically use to design this particular jhumka. And then obviously this is a trimming tool, a ribbon tool typically, and I'll be using this end to scoop out the jhumka. I have a couple of ghungru beads over here, and I have a small cookie cutter. This is really small, and this is only for a marking on top of the jhumka, and so is this. That's all. I mean, you'll see why I'll use these two. Obviously I have the pins as well here ready, the nichrome pins. Again, for earrings I'm using throughout gauge 26 nichrome. So I have a little bit of oil also handy. This is oil, by the way. It's just the cup, the base. The cup is really red because of some paint, but you can see that it's just some oil. You've seen me do this a bunch of times. I put in a little bit of oil, and then we remove the clay from this. So let's actually begin working on this jhumka. if you see, it's this beautiful pair of jhumka is ready. This is like the quintessential gold jhumka. I think you must have seen a lot of people basically work on a design like this, and you see how easy it is actually to make a pair like this. Couple of things that I think would help in getting this kind of a coat done easily is, one, you can actually use a flat brush. Two, you can actually use undiluted paint. Now if you see, the gold and the black, which gave me the antique gold color, was absolutely thick paint. I did not add a single drop of water to it, and even the paint brush that I used, which is a flat brush, that was also completely dry. I took very little paint at the tip of the brush, and it's not that I take a big lump of paint, because that also tends to not give you a very neat finish. That way is what happens is the paint kind of seeps through in these holes, and you don't want that. So the best thing is take very little. In fact, if you saw, in that particular vessel where I had the gold and the black paint, which is the antique gold paint, I constantly took only small quantities of the paint, and I just kept brushing it on the plate for a bit, so that there is a very minimal quantity of paint at the tip of the brush, and then I was painting the entire jhumka in swift moments. So that probably is another good method, and I've probably been doing that method especially to paint these kinds of jhumkas for years together now. Just these 2 points, you can use a flat brush. Even if you don't have a flat brush, it's fine. You can try using anything like this. A round tip brush also is fine, but the amount of paint that you have on the brush should be the least minimum, and the paint should not be diluted. So if you saw, what I also did is start off from the base, so that if there is any excess amount of paint that is actually stuck on the brush, it's okay that it comes here, because anyways I need this entire portion cleanly done. So by the time I actually come on this surface, I know I have a minimal amount of paint. So you can try doing that, and that should ideally help in getting a clean, neat coat. So if you see in this, I've actually done about 2 coats. So what happens is, sometimes when you are spreading out paint, the first layer isn't sufficient. Please let the first layer dry and only then work on the second coat. Okay, and all of these are without water, so no dilution is required, and that should ideally help you get a beautiful, nice, clean coat of paint. Another thing, if you see, is I actually bent this nichrome wire before starting to paint. This way what happens is the pin gets locked, so you do not have to worry that the jhumka is going to just fall off, and also the people wouldn't really hurt themselves with this kind of a pin, because this can be sharp. The nichrome wire used here is thin, and it can be sharp, and it can sometimes really hurt the finger. So best thing is always try to remember to just bend it. I mean, I used a back of the paint brush to do that. It's as simple as that. So it's just a couple of steps that you will want to remember. And now that this beautiful pair is ready, and once it's dried, we can actually varnish it completely. In fact, it's already dry to touch, but I never risk it, I never rush it. I always leave it. In fact, leaving it overnight is even better, and then you can actually begin varnishing it. Varnishing part, one thing that you might want to remember is, with stick beads it's a lot easier, but these are ghungru beads, so you have to be a little extra careful so that these beads don't stick to each other. A lot of times what happens is people tend to either skip doing this one and just do all of these levels, the middle one, the top, and this jhumka part, and probably skip this. Now if you do not want to varnish, that's also fine. But I'll still be showing you how I typically varnish a jhumka like this. So that's it. I think I hope these tips actually come handy for you when you start working on this kind of a jhumka. And once again, to the subscriber who actually asked me for this video, I really hope this has this has kind of eased out the manner in which you can make this very own earring yourself. So now, because my varnish is quick drying varnish, I tend to leave it at this stage, probably within about 5 minutes, at least 5-10 minutes I would say. It tends to at least become non-sticky, and that's a big advantage, and which is why I always insist on picking up a quick drying varnish.